again for the moment. Now we'll go and put the movement onto the test stand. Alright, that's got him on now. Now we'll put on the pieces on the other side. As I said before, it was an interesting afternoon or part thereof actually. There were 3 separate problems that were stopping the escape wheel from turning. Plop that in under there, and then there we go. Stay there for a moment. I'll put a clip on that in a minute. I'll do this one first. The first problem was that the ratchet on the great wheel was way too tight. Didn't allow the wheel to turn. So that was the first problem I had to solve. I think that's on. Yep. I did that by taking the wheel out, lifting the brass collar on the wheel, which allowed it to run more freely. I then put it through the ultrasonic cleaner, ran a brass wire brush over it, removed a lot of the rust and gunk on it. Then using a hollow punch, I very carefully tightened the brass collar down on the arbor until I'd taken up all the slack on it. So that was the first one. The second one was the chain. You remember that really cruddy piece of chain I showed you that had open links on it, where someone had seriously dragged down on it, and there was a piece there with, I don't know, 8 or 10 links on it, all of which have been seriously opened. They should be closed, all those links. So someone put a fair bit of pressure on that to do that to it. So what I did there, I reversed the chain, put the bottom end in, which is in much better condition than the top end, so that ran through the ratchet pretty easily, and that was okay. But the ratchet still wouldn't turn. When I put the pendulum on, the escape wheel still wasn't turning. So then I had a look and discovered that that wheel there, the first wheel, in between the leaves on that pinion there was tiny little bits of rust. There's also a lot of gunk in it and various other stuff. I didn't put that wheel into the ultrasonic cleaner because it had a plastic wheel on it. We don't do things like that. So that was the third thing that I reckon was having an effect, because the power from the weight, if I remember, it's 1250 grams, which is pretty damn heavy, wasn't turning the escape wheel. So it meant that somewhere in the train here there was extreme amount of friction that was stopping that working. So I took that wheel out. I managed to run over it with a Dremel with a wire brush on it, being very careful not to touch the plastic wheel because it's quite old and they get very brittle over time. But I managed to remove just enough of the little bit of rust and gunk in there for the wheel to start turning. And that's what we've got at the moment. Well, we will have once I adjust the back cock. Alright, I'll put a C-clip on the rack there to hold it in place, and then we'll adjust the back cock so that the escape wheel turns. Alright, I've put the movement back together again now. We'll have a look at the escape wheel, which is sitting up there. I'll get a good angle on it. There we go. And start it moving. Put some pressure on the chain. There we go. You can see the escape wheel turning. Not easy to hold like that actually, but anyway, there's the escape wheel turning. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Its movement's now ready to go out on test stand, and then I'll check it out there. But it should be working properly now. Alright, out to the test stand now. I put the Pallets Crutch assembly that has finally arrived from the Netherlands. I put that back into the movement, and then I'll put the movement on a test stand, and we'll check its timing. This is the Pallets Crutch assembly that has arrived from the Netherlands. You'll remember that this pivot here was bent up quite significantly, which stopped the clock from running. This is a new one. This is in actual fact an original Badish piece that came out of a clock that my friend in the Netherlands, Henry, had been restoring, and this is an actual piece. It's not a reproduction piece, it's a real deal. So we're going to put that into the movement today. Okay, bring our movement over, turn it up the other way, then put that pivot into that hole in there, which is there. Then the back cock goes over the top of that, and then we'll get the other pivot. There we go, that's got him. Now we'll put the screws into the back cock to hold it, and then wind him down, line the other hole, which is there, screw holding screwdriver again to give us a start, wind him down a few turns, remove it. Then have a look and check and see that the pallets are right. Okay, now we'll start adjusting the back cock to get the pallets in their right position so that the escape wheel turn down a little bit. Not easy when you're trying to hold it, look down it, watch the camera and actually get it to work at the same time. A little bit tight I think, and set him down a little bit. There we go, you can see the escape wheel turning now. So I'll tighten those screws down on the back cock. Not very much, just enough to hold it in place because that's only tentative. We'll recheck it once we go out and put it on a test stand. Right, now we need to put the pendulum leader on, which goes over there and then comes up. And those two hooks catch over the bottom of the suspension spring. We'll get this adjusted correctly once we go outside. It's a little bit off at the moment. Once we put it on the test stand, we'll be able to make a proper adjustment of it and get it working correctly. Just loosen that a tiny bit. Almost there. No, it's loose enough. I don't want. No, I'll wait till I get out on the test stand. It'll be easier. I won't have to hold it and watch what I'm doing. I can do it all at once. Alright, now tighten those screws down again for the moment. Now we'll go and put the movement onto the test stand with the weights, and then we'll adjust the pallets so that they work correctly in relation to the escape wheel.